what would happen if Yuji Itadori had Sukuna's full power at the Shinjuku Showdown, because this is the arc where everything was supposed to fall apart. Sukuna summons Mahoraga, and Gojo gets killed. That's how it goes. That's where it ends for him. But in this timeline, Yuji has Sukuna's full power. Not just a little, all of it. Dismantle, Cleave, Divine Flame, Malevolent Shrine, Reverse Curse Technique, the complete arsenal of the King of Curses sitting inside Yuji, and that one difference changes everything about how this fight goes. Because this time when Gojo goes down, our boy is already moving. Could Yuji actually save him? This is about to get insane, so let's get into it. It starts with Gojo getting unsealed. The moment Gojo comes back, the energy of the entire situation shifts. Because Gojo is still Gojo, the strongest, the ceiling, the wall between the sorcerer world and everything that wants to destroy it. His return matters in every timeline, but in this one, the first thing he does when he gets out is find Yuji. Not the higher-ups, not Yuta, not anyone else. Yuji. And when he finds him and really looks at him, Gojo goes quiet. Not the playful quiet he uses when he's processing something small. The real quiet, the kind that only happens when Satoru Gojo encounters something that genuinely surprises him. Because the kid he left before Shibuya was still figuring out what he had, still growing into the weight of it. The person standing in front of him right now has already grown into it completely. Yuji doesn't carry himself like a student anymore. He carries himself like someone who has already been through the worst thing and come out the other side knowing exactly who he is. Gojo looks at him for a long moment, and then quietly, almost to himself, he says, "You actually did it." That's it. Nothing else, no explanation, no follow-up, no Gojo monologue, just those 4 words. But coming from Gojo, that's everything. They don't have long to sit in that moment because Shinjuku is already beginning. Sukuna is fully out now, fully embodied in Megumi's body, and he is done with patience. He is done with strategy, done with long games, done with moving pieces across a board. He sets the stage himself, out in the open, in the middle of Shinjuku, and every sorcerer still alive feels it the moment he does. This is the fight, the one that was always coming, the one the entire story was building toward from the moment Yuji swallowed that first finger on a rooftop in Sendai. There is no backup plan after this. There is no next move if this goes wrong. Every sorcerer who shows up to that battlefield understands what they're walking into. Yuji arrives at Shinjuku and the atmosphere shifts the second he steps through. Every sorcerer on that battlefield feels his cursed energy before they even see him. That pressure, that dense, suffocating, impossible pressure that has been building since episode 1. It fills the entire ward before he even gets close to the center of it. Sorcerers who have been fighting their whole lives instinctively step back when he walks past. And across the entire ruined ward, Sukuna feels it too. And that's when it gets insane, because Sukuna doesn't tense up. He doesn't recalculate his approach. He doesn't call for backup or shift his positioning. He just smiles. Slowly, genuinely, because what Sukuna has wanted since the very beginning, deeper than conquest, deeper than domination, deeper than any of it, is something that can actually push him, something that makes the fight feel real. And walking toward him right now across the ruins of Shinjuku is the closest thing to that he has felt in over 1,000 years. The fight starts and it is immediately unlike anything that Battlefield has ever seen. Gojo and Yuji move together like they have been preparing for exactly this their entire lives. Because in a way they have. Gojo controls the space. His infinity warps the geometry of every attack Sukuna throws, bending trajectories, collapsing angles, turning the entire battlefield into a puzzle that Sukuna has to solve in real time. And every time Sukuna finds a solution, Yuji is already there. Dismantle fires clean and precise, cutting through techniques mid-activation, disrupting Sukuna's rhythm before he can build any real momentum. Cleave reads the difference in cursed energy density between Sukuna and the environment around him and detonates on contact. Sukuna, in Megumi's body, is taking damage from his own techniques being used against him with complete understanding of how they work, and that is something he has genuinely never experienced before. Sukuna cannot find a single moment to settle. Every time he resets his footing, Gojo closes the space. Every time he creates distance, Yuji cuts through it. The two of them are not just fighting well together, they are suffocating him. And Sukuna, who has not felt pressure in 1,000 years, is feeling it right now, so he shifts his entire approach. Because here is the thing about Sukuna, he is not just the strongest sorcerer in history because of raw power. He is the strongest because he reads fights better than anyone alive. He finds the structural weakness in any situation and goes straight through it. And the structural weakness of this fight is not Gojo's technique or Yuji's output, it's the relationship between them, the emotional center of this whole dynamic, because Yuji fights the way he fights because Gojo is next to him. The confidence, the clarity, the willingness to open up completely and let the techniques run at full capacity. infinity. All of that is built on the foundation of having Gojo there. Take Gojo out and the foundation cracks, and Yuji is alone in a way he has never been trained to handle. So Sukuna stops trying to win the fight and starts trying to end Gojo. He builds a sequence. World-cutting slash as the opener to force Gojo's infinity to engage fully. Cleave layered immediately underneath it, targeting the exact same vector to overload the response. A domain expansion feint on top of both to split Gojo's 6 eyes across 3 simultaneous threats at once. It is the most complex offensive sequence Sukuna has thrown in the entire fight, and it is built specifically to find the one fraction of a second where infinity has too much to process. Gojo's 6 eyes track all 3, they process all 3, and for just a moment, for one single fraction of a second, the response is just slightly too slow. That's all Sukuna needs. The hit lands, direct, full force. Gojo takes it completely, and the shockwave blows across the entire ward, and then he goes down, hard, and the whole battlefield goes silent because everyone just watched Satoru Gojo, the strongest sorcerer alive, the ceiling of everything, get dropped in a single sequence. For a second, nobody moved, nobody breathes, and that's when it gets truly insane, because Yuji was already moving before Gojo hit the ground. He felt the shift in Sukuna's cursed energy the moment the attack changed direction. He read it the same way he's been reading techniques for months, through instinct, through feeling, through living inside Sukuna's power long enough to understand not just how it moves, but why it moves that way. He couldn't get there in time to stop the hit, but he closes the distance in the next second and drops to his knees next to Gojo and activates reverse curse technique. And this is the moment. This is what this entire what if has been building toward, because Yuji has Sukuna's full power, and Sukuna's full power includes RCT, the ability to invert negative cursed energy into something that heals instead of destroys. It is the hardest technique in Jujutsu to master. Most sorcerers never get there, but Yuji has been sitting inside the full depth of Sukuna's cursed energy for months, and the RCT has been there the whole time, waiting. He pushes it into Gojo now. Both hands, everything he has. The golden light of reversed cursed energy spreads across the damage and starts pulling it back. Not instantly, not perfectly, but enough. The worst of it reverses, the fatal collapses, and Gojo's eyes open. The first thing he sees is Yuji kneeling over him, hands still glowing, completely focused, not even looking at his face, just working, just fixing it, like it's the only thing in the world that matters right now. Gojo stares at him, and for a second he says nothing at all, and then quietly, barely above a whisper, he says, "You just used RCT on me." Yuji still doesn't look up. "Don't die on me. We're not done yet." And that's it. That's the moment. That is the scene the entire series never got to have, because Gojo spent the whole story being the ceiling, the wall between his students and everything that wanted to destroy them. The person who was always already there, already stronger, already one step ahead. And right here, in the middle of the most destroyed ward in Tokyo, his student became that for him. Yuji pulled him back. Gojo gets back up, slowly, but completely. And now Sukuna has a real problem, because the plan was elegant. Remove Gojo, collapse the dynamic, fight Yuji alone. It should have worked. It would have worked in almost any other version of this story, but Yuji saved him, and now Gojo is back on his feet, fighting with something he almost never has. Actual stakes, actual fury, actual investment in winning that goes beyond pride or philosophy. The two of them push Sukuna back across the entire ward. Gojo opens Unlimited Void. Yuji opens Malevolent Shrine simultaneously. Two domains, overlapping, competing. The conceptual clash between them tears reality in the space between, and the ward around them just stops existing in any recognizable form. And inside that chaos, Yuji finds Sukuna, not through technique or calculation, just straightforward, because that is who Yuji Itadori has always been. No matter what power he's carrying, no matter what techniques are running through his hands, he goes straight forward. Always has, always will. The final exchange between them is not long. It doesn't need to be. Everything that needed to be said between these two was said the moment Yuji opened Malevolent Shrine on purpose for the first time, and Sukuna recognized the intent behind it. They both understood what this was. When the domains collapse and the cursed energy disperses and the dust finally settles across what used to be Shinjuku, Yuji is still standing, barely. Every technique he has is running on fumes. His body is pushed further than it has ever been pushed, but he is standing. And next to him, also standing, is Gojo. Sukuna looks at both of them, and for the last time, he goes quiet in that way that says everything, because the King of Curses just got the fight he's been waiting 1,000 years for. If you want more JJK what ifs just like this one, subscribe. We've got plenty more coming, and watch this video next.